Everyone loves to talk about how great Norfolk, Virginia really is. They'll always mention first things first, the history, the culture, and the lifestyle. But the truth is, there is some unique challenges that could be a distraction or make you feel that you should not even think about moving to Norfolk, Virginia. And I help professionals, military buyers, and those families who are looking to relocate to the Hampton Roads market, and especially in Norfolk, Virginia, each and every week. And I've seen countless times where this could lead to regret, and I want to make sure we avoid those today. So in this video, we're breaking down 5 things that you will love and then 5 things that you will hate in 2025 when it comes to living in Norfolk, Virginia. And in this video, we're going to break all those things down and more. And just like I always get phone calls, text messages, and even emails from viewers just like you each and every week looking to make a smooth move to the Norfolk, Virginia market. So if you wanted that same experience that we love to give our clients, definitely feel free to shoot me a text or give me a call at 757-294-8163. And if this is your first time on the Moving to Norfolk channel, I want to welcome you, but also get you and encourage you to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so that way you can be the first to learn about any and everything that's taking place in the Hampton Roads real estate market, especially Norfolk, Virginia. We're going to start with the coastal lifestyle as the #1 thing that you should love when it comes to Norfolk, Virginia. And the reason why this is important is because Norfolk has about 144 miles of shoreline. So imagine that you're getting off work, you're finishing up your work for the day, that you go home, you grab your paddleboard, and within minutes you're either in the Elizabeth River or you're in the Chesapeake Bay, whichever your heart desires. Being part of Norfolk, Virginia, and actually enjoying the lifestyle of the coast that's a part of Norfolk allows for you to see so many different opportunities. When it comes to actually living in Norfolk in comparison to what it looks like living in Virginia Beach, that's more of a touristy city in a lot more parts, you can see that the waterfront areas around Norfolk feel like they're more livable, like they're more lived in, like they're more of an experience. And I think that helps a lot of people see the amenities be a benefit to exactly what's going on in Norfolk as well. Then don't forget that you also have Waterside, Town Point Park, and the Botanical Garden. So sometimes you actually can say that a lot of times the weekends can just create themselves on things that you can do around these local amenities. One of the other things that's paramount about Norfolk, Virginia when it comes to coastal lifestyle is the dining, the food, all the things that you can experience in all the breweries around, and even more just the retail shops around the Norfolk area makes this a little bit more of a coastal living lifestyle that you can feel the amenities bursting through the scenes. And then don't forget that Norfolk also has its own fishing pier that you can actually take time out and just relax and enjoy catching fish as much as you possibly can. I think there's so many qualities about the coastal lifestyle that you can take into consideration that a lot of people find that this is very underneath the sun. So if you're trying to avoid all the touristy sections and you don't want the constant crowded areas of Virginia Beach, Norfolk coastal lifestyle provides you the same amenities and in some ways a little bit more with a lot less traffic and a lot less people crowding the areas that you'll be in. So that is our #1 take, is that one of the things that you'll love about Norfolk, Virginia. Let's jump into #2. If you crave a city that's alive with history and creativity, then Norfolk may just be it for you. It's actually a cultural hub that many won't even expect. And I think it really does punch above its weight class as well too. If you take into consideration the Chrysler Museum of Art, then you have the Virginia Symphony, then you have Broadway tours at the Chrysler Hall, and then even the USS Wisconsin all downtown in the heart of Norfolk, Virginia, near Waterside. I think these amenities can also give you a little bit of a taste of history that you can take into consideration, as long as with the creativity that the Neon District actually has with murals, dining, retail shops, and more. And even some of the markets that's down there that actually does historical events each and every month. Then when you take into consideration Harbor Fest and then even one of the NATO festivals down in Norfolk, Virginia as well, I think there's a lot more opportunity here for a cultural standpoint for you to find things that you can relate to. And I think that's what makes this one of the better areas for a lot of people to actually experience. So regardless if you live in Virginia Beach or you live in Chesapeake or even Suffolk, you still can find your way down to Norfolk and still find a lot more immense opportunities to indulge yourself in culture and have that big experience that you're looking for as well. So I think a lot of people take for granted how much cultural experience that you can find in Norfolk, Virginia, and I challenge you to go ahead and experience it. Have you ever seen the murals or the paintings of mermaids around the city and what are these sculptures and designs? I think that's one of the major things as well too that you should take into consideration and check out when you're around Norfolk. And if you ever come across any, definitely make sure that you send me a picture on Instagram of those actual sculptures that you see around the city. I would love to check out your mermaid that you take a picture with and love to see exactly how y'all feel about culture in the Norfolk market. So let's jump into number 3. Number 3 is going to be affordability compared to its neighboring cities. Norfolk, Virginia actually comes in at a lower price point on median sales price when it comes to its neighboring cities of Virginia Beach and Chesapeake, and even Suffolk, Virginia. The reason why this is important to note is because that means that you can still find historic homes, waterfront properties, waterfront condos, and the like for lesser value, a price per square foot than in the other areas of the 757, like I said before, with Chesapeake and Suffolk, many of the two. And the reason why this is so much more important is that because if you're a military buyer, your basic allowance for housing can even go a little bit more further in the Norfolk market versus the others. And if that's one of the things that you care about, finding that average 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath that's going to be almost 1,800 square feet, you're going to see the price points actually scale differently in Norfolk in comparison to the others in Virginia Beach and Chesapeake. Now, one of the other things that I like to point out about the affordability factor here is that utilities and your mortgages or rent is actually going to be a little less in these areas in comparison to those cities as well too. And you got to take that into consideration because affordability is always going to be the main staple of the reason why you're moving to a city and where you're going to be located at in that particular city. So I want you to always make sure you do your research. This is why you always want to work with a person that you know who knows the market like the back of their hand, like I do. And this is why I always want to make sure that you can always feel free to reach out to us, and we'll leave all our information to contact us down in the description below. Number 4 is going to be our military and job market. Did you know that Norfolk is home to the world's largest naval base? Yes, Norfolk Naval Station is the world's largest naval base in the world, and this actually drives our economy and keeps it very stable in our market as well. Now, when it comes to this market just like this, you want to understand exactly not only is the military at the forefront, but other companies like the Port of Virginia, Old Dominion University, Eastern Virginia Medical School, and Centera Healthcare all are anchor major job markets in our area. That means opportunities in defense, logistics, healthcare, and education means that these industries are going to be able to weather economic ups and downs. Military families love the city's convenience to bases, and civilian professionals find Norfolk surprisingly diverse in career options. So if you're looking to relocate to the Norfolk market, this area right here is definitely going to make sure that you are within close proximity to a lot of these actual opportunities when it comes to the job sector market in our Hampton Roads area. To me, I feel like this is where you get a lot more bang for your buck in the Norfolk market. When it comes down to being part of the military or having one of the jobs that I just mentioned previously above and other various opportunities in Norfolk, I'm starting to see this gain a lot more traction in this market. And with this gaining the traction that it really is, this helps you find the basis for what you're actually looking for. Because when you can actually have a lot of the things that you care about in one close proximity, that makes it easier for you. So when you can find dining, shopping, and restaurants that you're looking for in the area, but then not only that, your career field is within local driving distance and you don't have to compete with traffic as much. And then also having the desire to be where you can live your lifestyle the way that you want to live your lifestyle, I think that plays a major role as well. So to me, the military and job market strength that we see here is posed as a big opportunity for a lot of people in this Norfolk, Virginia market. Let's jump into number 5. Number 5 is going to be neighborhood variety. Norfolk has a neighborhood for every lifestyle. Are you considering historic charm? Then that could be Ghent. Are you looking for a home with ocean views? Then that can be East Beach. But also, are you thinking about something with more affordability? That may put you in the Lindenwood or Norview area. But also, a lot of people are unaware that downtown Norfolk is actually going through a major revival right now, where you're seeing more restaurants, you're seeing more shopping opportunities, and you're seeing a lot of upheaval in renovations of condos and apartments in the downtown Norfolk market, and there are actually in a lot more demand. So this actually makes it to where you can find to be centralized near Waterside or in the downtown Norfolk market and give yourself an opportunity to find just the right fit for your lifestyle. But now if you're a family and you're thinking about, you're looking for a little bit more space and you're looking for a little bit more charm, or you're looking for a lot more amenities, that could mean that you could be looking at some areas like Colonial Place or Larchmont, for example, to where this could be exactly where you may want to be at. Or even taking over a little bit of a trip downward to Edgewater could actually make this where this could be a lot more convenient stop for you. When it comes down to the neighborhood varieties that you'll see in Norfolk, it's just always going to be about fit first, and then lifestyle, and then the wants and needs that you want in a home. To me, this is where you always want to reach out to an agent like myself to help you cater yourself to these needs. Now, I always think about this from a perspective. Are you relocating here and you need to find the right fit? Maybe renting is maybe the right idea for you versus purchasing. But if you already think that purchasing is going to be the right fit, maybe this is your second tour back in the Norfolk market just like mine's were, or anything of that sort, then this may be the right opportunity for you to seize the momentum that you see and actually purchase a home. Regardless, we're going to leave a video link down below and help you decide whether renting or buying is the right thing for you right now in the Hampton Roads market, and I will look forward to seeing you over there as well. So let's talk about the 5 things that you could possibly hate about the Norfolk, Virginia market in 2025. So let's take a quick pause from our video before we get going just once more. I wanted to make sure that you understood that we have created the best robust website imaginable in the Hampton Roads market for you at movingtonorfolk.com. Over there, you can find out everything that you need to know if you're a PCS in the Norfolk Naval Station, whether you're selling a home in Chesapeake, you want to know what your home value are, or you just want to know exactly how far your BAH could go in the Hampton Roads market. We have all that over there for you, and those resources are completely free. That's the main point here. But if you want to know everything that you need to know about resources in the area and you want to know all those things in one spot, we have outlined a resource guide for you for every type of situation that you can find. So head on over to movingtonorfolk.com/helpful-guides. That's movingtonorfolk.com/helpful-guides and take advantage of everything that we have over there. Go ahead and download what you need, and we love to make sure that you're always going to be taken care of at any point in time. And make sure you always come back, because we're always updating those resources as we need to, as applicable. So I hope you've got everything that you need over there. And once again, you can find everything that you need at movingtonorfolk.com/helpful-guides, and we'll leave a link down in the description below as well. Let's get back to our video. All these things that I'm going to tell you about when it comes to hating things in Norfolk, Virginia, this is going to be taken with a grain of salt, because sometimes these things does not fit who you are. But personally, I want to make sure I give an overall arching example of all the things that you could possibly come across in Norfolk that a lot of people have a bad experience with, or just are discouraged by with the Norfolk market. And the very first one is going to be flooding. We're going to talk about flood maps and rising waters and everything else in beneath. Like, if you understand everything about Norfolk, you will know that it is a bit above and a bit below sea level. Just depends on where you're at in the Norfolk market. And with this means that heavy downpours and tidal waters can definitely make sure that you could be in the flood zone. And being a part with 144 miles of shoreline, then that definitely means that you are in a potential flood risk. And we already seen what's been going on with insurance companies when it comes to flooding and how they're not even covering in a lot of situations at this point in time. Coastal living does mean that you take on the coastal risk of actually being susceptible to flooding, and FEMA maps are always traditionally changing. Imagine if you go over one street that you may not be in the flood zone, but if you go over one more street, you actually could be susceptible to flooding. This make it quite difficult for a lot of people to understand what's really going on with flooding, and then over time, flood maps always shift. And with flood maps shifting, this means that one year you may not be actually paying flood insurance, and then the following year you could be actually be required to pay flood insurance for your mortgage. This is always going to be a moving target, especially in the coastal lifestyle, especially in the Norfolk market. And you cannot even be downtown or on the water side or even near a beach and still be in the flood zone. So just remember that you want to make sure when you're actually touring properties that one of the major questions that you always assess is this home in the flood zone? And if you are, what's the requirement for that flood zone, and how much insurance would that actually mean that you would need to actually include into your payment. So remember, your payment is always going to be your principals, insurance, taxes, and your interest. But then in addition, if you have flood insurance, that's going to be an additional rider that you're going to need on your flood insurance policy, and that can scale somewhere between $800 to $3,000 in those extra incentives that you have to pay to the insurance company for coverage. Now, one of the things that I always like to say, here's a pro tip. When it comes to flood insurance and you're shopping around, always ask if the home is in a flood zone, if the homeowner that you're purchasing or considering purchasing from does have flood insurance already. And if they do, the main question that you want to find out is that flood insurance actually assumable or transferable to the next buyer. Because just in case you can't find flood insurance that's going to be cheaper than what's already established by the seller who already has flood insurance, you may have the option to actually assume or transfer that policy into your name and take on their payment versus trying to find an insurance company who won't cover you for exactly the same amounts and at the same payment. So that's the pro tip that I give you in this video today. Let's jump into number two. Number two is going to be, if you hate the idea of sitting in traffic, you better get used to it if you're going to move to Norfolk, Virginia. With tunnels and traffic being a heavy problem in our local market, regardless of what's going on, there's always going to be a situation where your GPS is going to say 15 minutes and that actually turns into a 45-minute commute. So just be prepared for that, because this is not like a major metro city that has a beltway. We don't have those things, and that makes it a little bit harder for transportation to actually get where you go. If you're actually moving to the Norfolk market and you don't live downtown, I will always recommend that you don't move to this market and not thinking that you're not going to have to use a vehicle, because vehicle use is going to be heavy in this market. Yes, do we have public transit? Yes, we have metro buses. Yes, we have ferries. Yes, we have a light rail, but realistically, it doesn't get you from point A to point B across the major city. So this is going to be one of those things where you're going to have to understand exactly what you're getting inside when it comes down to it, especially if you're going to be commuting to other parts of the 757, like even maybe in Suffolk or Portsmouth. You could be using the Midtown Tunnel or the Portsmouth Tunnel that goes over the Berkeley Bridge in Norfolk, Virginia. All these things makes up a situation where you definitely need to know what your commute would look like, regardless if you're going to work or you're taking your kids to school or anything of this sort. So always make sure that you have a plan, and if you're in Norfolk, one of the best cases about Norfolk is that there's always a different unique way to get to another part of the city or to one of the neighboring cities, but at some point you run into a tunnel or you run into water. So it depends on where that takes you, that can get you where you want to be. So I think Norfolk is always going to have the problem when it comes down to traffic, because it's a lot more people here that's always having a demand to be working inside Norfolk or close to Norfolk, especially when you have the world's largest naval base. So you have your military presence, you have your civilian sector that support the military, and then you have all the other neighboring businesses that support in that same facility as well, and the other major markets that we talked about earlier when it comes to employment. So to me, I think this is where you have to take into consideration, is traffic really what you really want to deal with when it's time to move to Norfolk, Virginia? So let's jump into number three. Number three is going to be questions on safety. One of the major questions that I always either one, read in the comments, or two, I get directly asked to me, or I receive in an email or even in a text is Norfolk safe? Well, realistically, I think that's going to be dependent on wherever you're at. But we're talking about Norfolk, Virginia today in this video, and I want to say that's really going to be a dependent question. It's going to be dependent on the area that you're looking at, the neighborhood that you're thinking about considering, and a lot more of the other things that goes into it, like the people and the lifestyle that you have. So when it comes down to this, I really don't give direct information on how I feel about it personally when it comes to safety, and the reason why is because that can be considered steering, and that's a violation of fair housing laws, and that can take my real estate license and kick it out the door. But to be real with you, what I do is, like, I always suggest that people should look at crime maps, they should look at niche.com, and they should take all these varying factors into consideration. Now, when you actually feel and go into a community, I think that you can get a sense of a feel if that community can be the right thing for you. A lot of my clients, they'll go and see a house during the day, and before they even consider writing an offer on that property or whatnot, they would love to always go by and see the community at nighttime. In one community, someone can say, hey, I've been to a community and it's everybody out there in lawn chairs, and that can be a detractor for that person while they're playing cards and things. But the other person, they can say, you know what, this feels like this could be a community for me. So I think this is a give and take where you have to figure out, what does your lifestyle looks like? What do you expect from your neighboring community? What do you expect to be living in your community, and see what's going on when you're actually there and not there, and then understand that from that perspective. But always doing your research is always going to be paramount. Do I think that Norfolk is safe. I think that Norfolk can have a lot of safety, but then also you still have bad actors in no matter what city that you're in. So I think this is one of the things that you have to take into consideration. And it's not Craig avoiding the question, it's more so saying Craig is not responsible to make sure to determine if something is safe for you, because at the end of the day, your safety is your paramount responsibility, and it's going to be you that's going to be sleeping at night in a home that's either for you or not for you. So I always want to make sure that you know that field and sense of encouragement that you have, want to make sure that you're doing it for the right perspective and not just because it's the only thing that's in your price point. And I realize that a lot of times safety does mean pricing, and sometimes pricing means the level of safety that you're going to get, but at the same time it can not in certain cases as well. And this is what I'm really a stickler at. I really want you to understand, when you think about this market, I always want to come and check up on you, and I always want you to feel safe to always give me a call. And if you can't give me a call when you're living in your home because you feel like your neighbor is not the right neighbor for you, or your neighborhood is not the right neighborhood for you, then that probably means that you've already determined it ahead of time. And in certain cases you can't, because things always change. But for the most part, I always feel that a buyer can always make an assumption on what they feel about a neighborhood and make that determination to say, you know what, that's not the one for me. And the crime maps are really good. And I actually believe the Hampton Roads 2024 crime statistics have just now came out. I'm gonna look for those, and if I get a chance, I will make you a video about that. And if you want me to bring that type of video to you as well, leave that down in the comments as well. And if we get 10 comments on that, what I would do is I would go ahead and make that video and get it to you out as soon as possible. Let's jump on over until number 4. Number 4 is going to be that the summers can be no joke. Okay, let's talk about it for a second. When it comes to Norfolk, Virginia, this could be one of those East Coast humidity plays that you may never get accustomed to, no matter where you're coming from. And if you're not used to running your AC from June to September to combat 90-degree weather, then this area right here is going to challenge you for sure. That means that you could see a spike in utility bills as well, but also understand that this is not going to be that mountain air, crisp air that you're looking for. So realize that you got to change your expectations when it comes to the summer, and it's no way in my estimation that you can beat it. You cannot compete with the heat that's going to be here from June to September, so you might as well get accustomed to it and definitely get ready to see those electric bills, utility bills spike a bit. Now, this does not mean that I feel like you should run out and get solar panels. That's a whole different conversation for a different day. But what I really want you to understand is that the weather is going to take some getting used to. And we still see the frequent major thunderstorms that come through. And then like right now, as we're recording this video on August 26th, what you understand right now is that we're starting to trend into hurricane season. So even though that Virginia is not usually slammed by hurricanes, we always get heavier rain downfall from the local areas that usually do get hurricanes, more centralized to them, like North Carolina. So taking that into account, definitely understand that seasonal weather is going to be what it is, and summers are really a good thing to be outside and enjoy, especially if you want to be at the beach. But the heat that comes with that definitely means that you need to be prepared for it as well. Let's jump to number 5. Number 5 is going to be aging infrastructure and growing pains. If you're expecting a suburban lifestyle neighborhood moving to Norfolk, Virginia, I want you to simmer your expectations just a little bit. And the reason why is because we're still looking at old roads, old city, and old infrastructure across the board. It's one of those things where Norfolk's going to take time to see the local surroundings of Norfolk to actually increase in value. See, the reason what you're seeing right now is there's a lot more major pumping into the downtown Norfolk market right now to revitalize tourism, to revitalize people actually spending more money down in those local centers. And then you hope that starts to creep out to the other outward areas of and neighborhoods of Norfolk, but we have old neighborhoods as well. So a lot of times this is why you see people move to the frequent other cities of like Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, and Suffolk, because infrastructure is growing in those communities versus where it's at currently right now. And with that being the case, you want to make sure that that doesn't deter you at any point in time. And the reason why this could be a thing is because if you're getting old roads, you're getting old infrastructure, that means you probably have old schools. And if you have old schools, then that means some of these schools may be hit or miss. And this is why it's important to do your own research, talk to the staff, and look at resources like niche.com and greatschools.org to understand exactly what it is. Like a lot of communities around this area still does not have fiber installed in it. And when you starting to see internet connections still not using fiber, that kind of tells you the lagging behind an infrastructure that it could actually be. But I also think that there's still an opportunity for this to actually increase over time. I don't think that Norfolk has a bad infrastructure problem. It just needs to upgrade the infrastructure that it really has. And we're starting to see that take place over time. Like in certain communities, when I take clients out on tours, if we're in Chesapeake and we're in Suffolk, they're asking, oh, why does this home not have power lines exposed above ground? And you go into cities like Norfolk and they still do. Well, right now there's an initiative that's going on in Chesapeake and it's very specifically to Norfolk, where they're trying to bury all power lines right now, but that's going to take years to actually accomplish. So when you see things like this happening, understand that if you're moving to the Norfolk, Virginia market, that the infrastructure is old. Yes, the city is old, and a lot of that weight carries on with it as well too. So yes, here's the real truth on Norfolk. Yes, it has culture. Yes, it has waterfront lifestyle. And yes, it actually has coastal charm. But realistically, it also has its challenges as well too when it comes to tunnel, flooding, and infrastructure problems. So when it comes down to it, always understand that the best neighborhood is always going to take in the best fit for your lifestyle and the best needs that you need in purchasing a home. And that's going to always make the difference for you as well too. And I know that can be a unique challenge to always figure out. And I always know that this video did not even answer maybe even have the questions that you may have. So for that is the reason why I have created a full Norfolk relocation guide that you can download at the movingtonorfolk.com/helpful-guides and actually get access to that. And we want to make sure that we keep on providing you nothing but full value at every given point that we can. So once again, you can go over to the movingtonorfolk.com/helpful-guides and pick up your copy of the full relocation guide for Norfolk, Virginia. And if you have any questions or any concerns, this is definitely the channel for you. And I want to thank you for actually taking the time to watch this video. And if you found value in it, definitely hit me with a like. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so that way that you can always be the first to learn about any and everything that's taking place in the Hampton Roads market. And if you want to find out anything that you need to know when it comes to a home, about purchasing, renting, whatever it may be, and you're thinking about moving to this local market, I would love the opportunity to assist you in any way possible. 757-294-8163. Feel free to give me a call or shoot me a text at any time. And to the next video, y'all stay safe. Peace.